After the results came in, they came in hard. We all celebrated. We're still celebrating. We're still very excited, but we know that there is a lot of work for us to do. So check this out. Dear Blamerica, that's Black America, we are taking a deep breath collectively behind our masks. Glass ceilings are falling, crystal stairs are crumbling as the former personality turned president continues to stomp on the floors of the turmoil and hate that he basked in. We now start to feel heard, and with that, we can start to heal yet again as we, the people, relieve him of his ridiculousness and welcome first in that will forever be a part of history. We rejoice. Our work starts today as well. Action, accountability, awareness, and no more apathy. The proof is in the politics. Our voices are our vote, and our votes count, and our votes are vital. Every single one, no matter if it was cast early, by mail, provisional, however, it counts. Action in our homes and in our community by honoring ourselves and each other better. There should be nothing about us without us ever again. Now, I can actually wave a flag and stand for a pledge and feel a connection to those words. We've only had the chance to be proud a few times in my lifetime outside of the daily pride that those of us who know who we are exude. It's our time to make pride in politics a priority because although they wrote us in as three-fourths and property before, we are presidents and policymakers. We have been recognized as game changers, the game changers that we have always been. The president elect himself said it from the stage last night directly to the same African Americans that the 45th president used as leverage. The president elect knows that we are leaders. Let us start today digging down deep for an energy that will never fade, that stands daily for all that is right and true, done in love with love. Let us know and teach that we are enough no matter if we've seen 200,000 or 2,000. Let us lift each other up no matter where we come from and where we're going. This is to be continued. Dear Blamerica, every week that something pops off and registers to me, I'm going to write a letter to y'all. Okay, because I write letters. So you'll get one every week or every time I feel like it. All right. Dear Blamerica. So Eddie was in the black of his mind. I'm writing to y'all every time something comes up. We're writing a letter. We're going to get our motion on.
Okay.
So with all of that, what was said, we know again that we have the power. How do we keep the energy? So I'm sitting there thinking, we do a segment or we do a series. It's called Vital Votes. And that's where we push the voting power. We teach it, we educate, we register, we talk about politics, vital votes. But it seems that it's only done when it's time for a major election. And then once it happens, everybody says, "Oh, we need a Stacey Abrams. Oh, we need a so and no, no, no. We need to keep the same energy. That's what we need to
Hmm.
do." So, what do you all see as some of the solutions as to what will keep people motivated? What will keep people motivated?
I think one thing that we need to do is challenge a lot of the propaganda that's been out here.
Mm,
As far as the black community, it's a lot of. I mean, I know black people that voted for Trump because they thought their Second Amendment rights was going to be at risk. So, I mean, your gun's not going to get taken away from a Walmart warehouse, right?
yeah.
You know, with pre-existing conditions in politics, like and healthcare. It's just so much stuff that have been misleading sentiments about what it's going to look like if Joe Biden wins. It's not going to become a socialist country tomorrow. It's a lot of people that are confused about what uh, a Democrat looks like and what a Democrat running the country would look like because it's been 4 years of propaganda, mistruths, misleading, challenging science, calling the news the fake news. It's a lot of people that really gonna need to be reinforced what this is and what this is not,
Okay.
just from a baseline perspective.
Love it. All right. So, what should it look like? Keeping the energy. It's exciting when the budgets are big, shirts are being passed out, bumper stickers and rallies and stuff like that. Like that's exciting. And I know a big part of what we want to do and a big part of what we do and just who I am is about energy. And example today from 2 to 4 o'clock, there was like a block party down on our Black Lives Matter walk by Railroad Park. It was cool in my mind. as the rest of the world was unfolding under the results last night. Yes, well, not, it wasn't even last night.
Yeah.
Yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, people should have been trickling there. It should be a spot. We should have known where to go yesterday. The energy. So, like, organizing is one thing, strategizing is one thing, mobilizing is something else. Um, Registering is something else. That's a whole nother thing. But the energizing, that's another thing. Where are we gonna go? Who's gonna have the skates on? Who's pulling the boom box out? Who's pulling the food truck up? Like the energy. What do you think about energy? Like what's gonna keep that energy going, or at least bring it here? What could it be?
I hate to. This is not even. I don't know. It's not on that. I feel like the issue within us is this whole like who gets the credit, and that's such a problem for me. Where it's just like, why can we not celebrate together? And it doesn't matter who led it or whatever. It's such this like who gets the credit, who was the face of. When it's just like why can we not
Mm,
just celebrate one another? And I feel like that is a big issue with us where it's just like there if there's division amongst us, it's so hard to celebrate these victories when it's like, okay,
mm.
can we just come together and it's not a tug of war amongst each other? It's a lot of that going on internally that we
Cause
don't want to talk about publicly, but it's like these are things that have to be addressed.
absolutely, because I'm thinking about keeping the energy, like keep the same energy. And I know, like for me, the excitement is what drives people to make a difference. If I'm
Yeah.
excited about something, if I have buy-in, if I understand and I can connect to the people that are in front of it, oh, I'm going.
Oh, vital call.
Ooh, I'm passing out shirts or whatever it is. Like I know this is going to be a good time if I go, and not only is it going to be a good time, but I'm going to learn something. I'm going to feel good. I can take this energy back to where I just came from. So I'm wondering about that. Like all of the DC, like as soon as they thought, like they've been waiting on results in the street turning up
Yeah.
all weekend, like all week since Tuesday. But yesterday, like I saw people twerking. I heard congas or drum circle in the middle of the street. Birmingham, where we at?
Well,
Well,
I think
I
I got a little bit of like kind of like pushback on that because we got to give Stacey Abrams her credit. Like what she did for Georgia, she could have been like that bitter lady who just kind of went, defeated.
Yeah,
But she really, really, really rallied
Rallied
she
just
started a
right.
whole
Georgia.
nonprofit.
Yeah, like she really did a phenomenal job, and I mean, like I mean, she really did. I mean, sometimes we get mad when it ain't our time and people don't choose us or pick
Yeah.
us. We get in our feelings and just lead a whole movement. But she was able to push,
The
push,
perfect
push.
example of that.
In a
Yeah.
state, I believe, I'll go as far as to say a whole state was flipped
Yeah.
because of her. So I mean, it's
Vicky, one of our viewers, added a comment about what can happen, and it's the same thing that you're just speaking about, Blue, with Stacy. Volunteer to register new voters. Exactly, absolutely. So volunteer to register them, but the other part of it is to educate them, inform them, and keep them turned. Like it's one thing to register them, and then okay, they get a card, and okay, cool, it's time to vote. Like if we started doing that tomorrow, and we register 2,000 new voters by March, cool, that would be great. But then we don't do anything else. They don't know like where to turn up or where to go get. I mean, yeah, Wu came out here, knocked on my door, and I met her. We took a picture, but what?
and see that's the
what?
problem.
What?
You asking how to keep the momentum.
Yeah.
Like if we see now,
Hmm.
it was proven. You cannot deny that every vote doesn't count when Georgia was won by what 4,000 some votes. You can't say that every vote doesn't count. That's a neighborhood in Birmingham, a small neighborhood. So I think when politicians don't do what they say, it discourages people and we go back into this slump. People didn't vote in 16. People were trying not to vote now.
Yeah.
But I think that
Right.
our president did such a wonderful job at being disrespectful
Mm.
and encouraging people to vote. That people just kind of say like, you know what, I just really don't have a choice right now because
Yeah.
he going beyond the line. So it's like we got to make sure that we hold the people accountable. It's like somebody need to be in his ear. Please do what you say you're gonna do. Like please don't let our people down anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and I think the problem that
Hold on.
go
Hold
ahead.
on one second. So for those of you in the virtual studio, so that I can see you, like put your hand up and I'll call you, Miss Courtney.
So, here's one thing. I think, culturally, like we have to give these people that are getting into these leadership positions a little grace. Like, so when we hear the term systemic racism, or when we hear things have happened, systemically over time, like these white leaders didn't get in office and just all of a sudden everything that's happening just happened when they got there. It has been over several years and decades of them being in these positions, being able to put certain things in place. And so, again, yes, we definitely want our leaders to get in and to make change and to follow through with the things that they say they're going to do. But I do think that policy change, like all of those things take time. And I feel like now that black people, we're starting to see that, okay, like our voice does matter, our vote is counting, and it's just like, okay, so now do it, now show me. And it's like
Yeah.
those things take time. I mean, so yeah, let's hold them accountable, but we have to understand that these things, the way that they are, that we don't like or don't necessarily agree with, didn't just happen all of a sudden when Trump got in office. Like, didn't just happen all of a sudden when Bush was in office. Like, these things are term after term after term of people being in these positions and being able to just kind of make change over a considerable amount of
Right.
time. That's one thing. The other thing is, I think that we are driven by energy. We are driven by the excitement. So it's, I remember when Barack got elected, everybody was so excited. Everybody thought of this, the first black male president. That brought everybody out, all this energy. But sometimes the work is not fun. Sometimes the work, the quiet part is not super exciting. I mean, I love being a therapist, but there's parts about this that it is work. I don't necessarily like writing notes and doing documentation. I would love just to be able to sit in front of people and just talk to them and let somebody else do that part. But what we have to understand is just because it's not just super energy driven and it's not the most exciting part of it, like it's important for us to be educated. Like, that may not be the most exciting
Right.
thing, to be hearing about stuff that you're unfamiliar with and having to learn something completely new. But I think that we can get lost in like just it always being a feel good moment for us. And if it's not a feel good moment for us, or if we don't see immediate results, we like they
That's the
didn't do what they
part.
said they were going to do, or
Right.
we lose interest. And so we can't just get so caught up in like it's just supposed to feel good the whole time.
I
And
can't.
those immediate results.
Can I push back
So
on that?
And just give me a second.
okay, so for me, it's got to be bigger. I kind of agree with Courtney. It has to be bigger than just the ooh, what's fun? What can we do? Oh man, it's a party. They got a food truck. That's exciting to get people out and get engaged. But there has to be a commitment on the person's end to stay engaged. Because what typically happens, we get excited, and then after it's over, we go back to doing what we normally do. We got excited about Barack Obama when they had a majority in the House. The Democrats had a majority in the House and the Senate. 2 years later, he loses it, and that because we weren't excited to go vote 2 years. 2 years after that, we didn't see it as a purpose or meaning. So it has to be an excitement with us to stay committed to this when there isn't anything fun and fancy to be able to do. So yes, it's the responsible thing. You should want to educate yourself and do that, so we can do what we can to be able to educate people and to bring them into the fold. But they have to stay actively engaged or find a reason to stay actively engaged. And then when you look in terms of what's going on, why wasn't there anything planned or going on in Birmingham? Birmingham or Alabama really didn't have anything to celebrate. Alabama went for
Mm.
Trump. Doug Jones lost. So what was there to be excited about? In Georgia, Atlanta, they wouldn't have been partying in Atlanta had Georgia gone for Trump. That was because Atlanta saved the Biden presidency for Georgia, or Atlanta won it. So these places where we see pop-ups and people excited and doing stuff, there's a tie to it. There's a reason to it why they're doing it. So in Alabama, no, we didn't have a reason to be excited and turn up on Saturday. But shoot, give us a reason. We'll find one to turn up the next day.
So, okay, so the reason was given, and the reason is understood that I hear it too, Courtney. Our candidate got in. Reason enough. I voted, my candidate got in. So, like, keeping the energy no matter if it's a small victory or a major victory. So, say I want you to, I guess when we come back from our next break, to come from a different angle to talk about the possibilities of where the candidate who we spoke to on air last week, like his energy was so great last week. I think we were all optimistic, but at the same time, we all kind of knew that our counterparts here are still kind of stupid. So we don't know how this is gonna go. Um, but Doug Jones put up a great fight, and I think a lot of people represented for him, but not enough. I can't wait to have that part of the conversation. Then thinking about some of the things that have been promised and some of the things have been said. So mandates, bills, executive orders, looking at the blue wall being rebuilt. What does that look like? And then the history, like what is going to actually come from this history that's being made. So Dave Chappelle, let's talk about what he did last night before we go to our break. First of all, he smoked on TV in a room. I hadn't seen that since like 88.
The 80s.
Like he fired up a cigarette on the stage and smoked it during his set. I said, "Oh wow, okay."
He does that during the shows too. Like when he performs
Yeah, but
live, he does that.
yeah, but this was on Saturday Night Live. I said, "Oh,
He shouldn't be doing it at the venues that he does it before he gonna do it on. He better off doing it on Saturday Night Live than doing it at the Alabama Theater.
you think
He did it at the Alabama Theater. He fired up a cigarette
that's
before he got on
private?
stage. Huh?
That's private.
No, that's a TV studio. You can get away with different things in a TV studio.
Should he have smoked last night?
Last night was better. On TV, I prefer that than being in the Alabama Theater where there is a code where it's illegal to be smoking inside of
What
facility.
about the N word on TV?
He probably told them from the jump, look, y'all finna pay some fines today.
Right, it's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
Like,
like, and
be prepared.
he got out there and did what, he was the first person that they had on after Trump was elected
Woo.
too. And now he was the first person on after Biden was elected. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just bought that same energy,
Bring
and
the same
he was
energy.
going to speak the mind that Dave Chappelle got to speak.
Then he talked about the plan. You know, you wait. I see you leaning in, Courtney. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Hold on. So, so he can't. He said something about the mask wearing. So like this is a season where everything comes full circle. He said, "Okay, you sound like somebody who doesn't wear your mask, but you'll wear your hood. So why not wear your hood to Walmart like you wear like
Woo.
all the correlations he made?" So that was another one. He talked about the murderous whites. Like COVID, thank God for COVID because we hadn't had many mass killings. Like the murderous whites have been made to stay home. I said, then he said, we're going to teach N-word lessons. These are N-word lessons. Those are the lessons that only we can teach because y'all don't know, like dancing, um, how to use how to N-word rig things. I wish I could say word too. I don't know. Courtney might get mad if I say it. Courtney French. She might be like, well, that was just too much. So I'm not gonna say it, but y'all know I'm going. He talked about women's wages and how, yeah, he talked about that. We'll get into it. And then he talked about the kindness conspiracy. That's his new way of random acts of kindness for black people who don't really deserve them. Mm. This is all the stuff that Dave Chappelle talked about. So did you all see it? Did you see it with your own eyes? Saturday Night Live last
Oh yeah.
I, I watched the replay this morning, so yeah.
Where can I watch the replay? I must see this.
Hulu.
Oh,
On
okay.
YouTube as
I do
well.
have that.
It's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say something really quickly about Dave Chappelle, and that was I feel like years ago he came off the whole mainstream thing because Dave Chappelle decided, like, I'm gonna say what the hell I want to say. And
Mhm.
if everybody doesn't like it, then if it like I don't have to come on y'all set or your like whatever. So when
He
you
said
get
that
Dave
last night
Chappelle,
too.
you know what you're getting, right? So either you bring him on or you don't, but he's not gonna shy away from who he is.
I loved it. It was everything that everybody has wanted to say. And he says, like I tell the truth and I just kind of make it nicer, easier to stomach with a punchline. And I mean, it is what it is. So that happened. Let's talk about these numbers before we go to break. 290. All you need is 270 to win. Joe Biden got 290 votes from the Electoral College to Trump's 214. Trump said, you know what? I'm very upset. I'm going to go and hit some golf balls around. The popular vote. 75 million to 70. That's like a big that's different. Like you can't. So I want to know what he's going to go to court about. I mean, I'm not even good at math and I see
It's a
I
difference.
see it. So is there anything that you all think could be a problem
I think
legally?
he's probably going to try to attack anything that came in by mail, the dates that they came in, how the counting was done. They are suing for particular information. Like for Wisconsin, I think they were suing because they wouldn't let the Trump administration have access to their process and things of that nature. So anything numbers related,
Mhm.
and but I just with the amount, the gaps between where I don't think you're gonna be able to make up them numbers even in the best case scenario for Trump. It's just too many people showed that they did not want Trump to be the president in America. Like Americans voted for who they wanted to be there. And Republicans have consistently said, hey, this is the president, so this is who makes the decisions. America chose him to do this. And it's funny now that they're not giving America that credence to have made that decision at this point now, you know. So I mean, I think that's what it looked like to me.
Okay. Some cities have already thrown at like judges are like, bruh, bye. Bruh, get out. Go pack. Let it go. It's over. You've lost. You're fired.
And bitter.
you're fired. You're fired. Okay. It's a rumor that his wife is leaving him. Melania is filing for divorce.
I wouldn't be
Melania
shocked.
said that she wanted a baby and a little money. She did not sign up to be nobody first lady. She, I think that she is really happy deep down that she no longer has to be in this role. And I've heard some people say, I give her like 6 months. I'm gonna give her like February 2021. I said I'm gonna give her like between 2 and 4 years because I think some things are gonna have to be worked out with just all this legal action and just really. I think there's gonna be a lot that comes behind his tenure. So yeah, but I would not be surprised if she got on the first thing smoking.
There's no love there, but they've been married.
She not
So
going anywhere.
I mean,
You don't
she's
think
been
so?
around. So where would she? Why would she leave?
I mean, she because Trump is more than likely going to end up going to jail. So she's going to sit around, make sure she is able to collect her check and be financially set. So she will be that supportive wife that stands by her man while he goes to jail.
Mm, interesting.
I don't know. I think she might thought she secured the bag until she found out he owed $400 million to somebody. She might not be
Who
with
is
it at this
it?
point.
Who like? Does anybody know who he owes this money to?
Putin. I'm just playing. That's
Who?
fake news. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, y'all.
That's fake news.
That's fake news. I'm
Do we
just playing.
know?
I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
it's stuff like that that's about to come out. So what's about to come out also is anything that you want to talk about. You've been waiting for this opportunity. I know that we do this all the time here. Like during the week here on the station, we have opportunities for you to express yourself very openly. But tonight it's different. This is the platform that's set up for you to do it. So feel free to call in 994-8949. The phone lines are going to be open. We're going to keep the same live going, so you don't have to get off of this live for the next hour. And we're going to talk about the future of America, safety in America, because there were some things that came out about how black men and black boys should be more watchful. Did you all see that?
Yes.
They said that was fake news too, but I think that's real news every day. Like that's not really new, but we're going to talk about it. We have several black men in studio. We can have this conversation. We're going to talk about the future of HBCUs, Greek life and all that type of stuff with the new vice presidential candidate in. And we're going to talk about what black people want. Somebody said that earlier. Well, what do black people want? At this point, we kind of got what we want. Yeah. So we're going to talk about all of that. You're going to be able to put your opinions and your comments in the conversation. 994-8949. 994-8949 is the number. You can also comment on our social media. We're gonna stay up during the break and make a few adjustments in the studio. You're listening to the Abby Award winning Vital right here on V949 WATV. We'll be right back.
And WATV would like to be the first to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden. Yeah. And the first African-American woman to be elected vice president.
All right, everyone. So, hey, hope all is going well with you in the virtual studio. Stay where you are. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. It's only about a 2 minute break. It's not even that long. So, if you want to go get some water or something, go ahead and do that.
I had to cut mine off because the feedback was bad. Yeah, I just cut it off. I couldn't even.
City Auto Sales. We just out here doing what we can, take care of our customers. Got your rocking chairs out here with a fan blowing on you so you can sit back, wait on us to pull the car up under the awning here for you so you ain't got to be out there in that hot sun, brother. No matter what you're looking for, we got you taken care of. We got over
No.
140 cars, trucks, and SUVs on the lot. If we don't have exactly what you're looking for, give us opportunity to earn your business. We'll find that vehicle for you. Look,
I
we can do
don't.
everything over the phone. We'll get all the
All right.
paperwork taken care of, disclose numbers, give you trade-in details, come to your house,
No.
drop the vehicle off. Guess what? New car, COVID free. Hey, hit us up
So talk about the
online at
industry local
cityautocentres.us. Give us a call
government
at
reaction,
205-744-1119 or stop in and see us here at Hughtown,
that type of
3075
thing.
Allison Bonnet Memorial Drive, cityautoSales.us. We're back. Don't forget to download our absolutely free app in your Google Play and Apple Play stores. B94.9 WATV.
That's right. V94.9 WATV, where the V stands for variety, but now it stands for vital. I'm Lady Wu. The crew is in the building. Social media viewers, we are back. Thank you for kicking it with us. So, one thing about the social media stream, we are in so many different places right now. We're on Facebook on a few different pages. We are on YouTube right now on the Vital Show page. So we're in a few places. So check us out on any of those. And you can see different comments in different places, different viewers in different places. So hello to everybody that is viewing right now. Um, this virtual age allows people to be everywhere watching. So we're in 2, 4, 5 different places at the same time. That is amazing. So hey everybody everywhere. Okay, it's amazing also that I'm up here in so many different spaces. How'd that happen? Do you see it?
Yes.
What is that about? Oh, say it. I'm Sayed's picture. What is that about?
Because you probably use it for something.
Hold on. What you say?
I said probably because you probably use it for something. That's how it was set up like that. I didn't change that.
That's
That's you.
crazy. Okay. Oh, that's me again. Okay, so that was Sir said. So I'm just on here twice. So hey everybody again, welcome back. Sturdy Show has joined the live stream as well. Christine jumped out. Blue jumped out too, but they're in the studio.
But we're here.
Ready Eddie even jumped out. Okay, they're all here though, and their mics are on. So jump in the conversation as you see fit. Courtney is still in as well. So let's jump to before we talk. Well, no, let's go to the HBCU impact. So historically, black colleges and universities, we know that our new VP elect is an alumnus of the Howard University, and that is big. So Howard is known for a lot of uh, all of our HBCUs are known for a lot of history. They're historical. They're black, so you know that's what we do. We make history. But that's where she went, and she also pledged there. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She is a part of other organizations. I want to say, is she part of the links? I think I read that. But just the influence and the impact on being a part of something bigger than yourself that's black, specifically HBCUs. How do you all feel about that? That's major. First of all, what do you see happening with that?
Shoot, I'm from HBCU, so
Yes, sir.
I just always feel like we have to work a little bit harder. Um, and as far as getting recognition or being deemed as qualified.
Yes.
So I don't know what other how higher how more qualified you can be right now than come from an HBCU.
Right.
It's just so much history attached to her, and not only does she have black heritage, she got Asian
Hmm.
heritage. So that's like it's just, and I like her swag, man. She got HBCU. Like looking at her move, I don't care. People love trying. Well, she ain't black. Well, she sure move like a black lady.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to see. There was somebody that was at the acceptance speech that had on a black dress that was kind of, she was vibey too. Now I'm not sure who she was. I couldn't tell who she was with. She hugged. She went straight to Biden
I
and
think
hugged
that's
Mhm.
his
him.
daughter.
I know you're
I,
talking about, yeah.
yeah,
Really?
I think
Yeah.
that's his daughter. He got a daughter. Don't he got a
He
daughter?
But
does.
but no, she said I don't know. Like her vibe. Well, I guess if that's her dad, then maybe so.
They
Like,
hugged for like a while too. They
yeah,
like
Yeah,
yeah,
embraced, and it was a
she
minute.
was
Yeah.
lit across the plate
right.
Yeah.
and then went. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
she like she was. I said now she might be. I don't know if she related to like I couldn't tell because of her energy. But you think about that type of energy in a homecoming type situation. Kamala has been to some homecomings. She's been to some parties. She has been turned right. We gotta know that, and we gotta know that that's what's about to go into the White House, and it's gonna
and
be
she
representing us.
pledged. You can't tell me she ain't played. She played at the Alpha chapter of AKA,
Alpha meaning like the first one,
the
right?
first one. So,
Okay.
and then she probably pledged in the time when,
When they was
you know, what I'm saying.
when they was getting it
So
in.
she kind of understand. I mean, it's just she covers a lot of different facets, and just looking at when you look at crime in the 90s, it hit
Hmm.
everybody off guard.
That's the other
And so a
part.
lot of people did what they thought would be best, and that's to lock people up for doing crimes, not knowing the long-term effects that it would have on the black community.
Mm.
And so I see a lot of people coming
Hmm.
who ain't never been to jail, or who haven't ever
Like
had any,
still mad at her.
right, or who haven't had any family who were directly affected by those times. And it's like, for somebody who almost got sucked into that vacuum, you just gotta kind of look like, cause like now I'm like, man, lock them up. I'm like, put the roadblocks up, like stop them from killing elderly people going down the street. And so it's like, I mean, man, it's I had to get over my pride and my feelings, but I really like her when I started reading
Okay.
for myself. I just started seeing a lot of stuff that she actually contributes and has been doing and where she came from. And who knows, she might have felt like she had to prove herself beyond
Mm.
because she came from an HBCU, because she had the lineage and the background that she come from, and
Immigrant parents.
right.
Huh.
But just what I was gonna say earlier, like I don't look. You've been a prosecutor. You've been a state attorney general. You don't need no time. You don't need it. We need it now.
Okay.
What we need in America needs to happen right now. We don't need Biden has been in the White House administration,
Mhm.
second in charge. He knows what do what you say you gonna do now. Even if they tell you no, you need to be doing it. You feel what I'm
Oh,
like we
so
need
so
that.
when you said I feel that, I
Right.
absolutely feel that. Like I feel like, yeah, like day one. You know how we say when other things happen, okay, day one, we in there, we doing this, boom, boom, boom. Here's the plan. We already told you what it was. We're making it happen. But Courtney and said have already kind of said like that's what we want, but we know that it's not that's not how it happens in Washington. That may happen downtown on Short 20th.
Well, it don't even happen in Birmingham because a
Uh,
lot of people say what they gonna do while they running for election, and we in the third year going into the fourth, and we still don't see it. And we'll start seeing roads get paved. We'll start seeing grass get cut and
mhm,
trash get picked up
mhm.
starting next year in the year. And that's what we don't need, and that's what we can't
Oh.
afford to have with these two. That people really believed and bought into them, they got to go. We need to see it, like make it happen. And like I said, even if how can the Republican senators tell you no against a bill that's diverse without exposing their racism? And if they
No,
do,
they don't care.
listen, if they do, then you're gonna have to show America that is you, not me.
Okay.
Well,
You feel
that's
what I'm
that's
saying?
the issue. The issue is Mitch McConnell is not putting anything on the floor because they will have to vote against it to have that cast against them,
Yeah.
and that's his strategy. I mean, he is a full blown obstructionist. He has decided that he's not going to bring this stuff up because, yeah, if they bring up diverse legislation and the Senate voted down, they can't say it's the Senate. So, from his perspective, why would I bring it up? But
But how can he? This is one person. This is one man. Even though that's his role, how can he have that much? Like how is that even governmentally possible for
because
him to have that much power to say, guess what? I'm not going to even show it to him. That's like me telling y'all, Vital Show, we just got $2 million, and guess what? I'm not going to even show it to you guys because I have the power not to.
before the
When you
city
be mad,
council in Birmingham votes on something that has to deal with money,
Mhm.
it has to come through the budget and finance first.
Okay.
And the budget and finances has to put it on the agenda. So and so that's like on a larger scale.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, the senator has to bring it has to be put on the floor, and as long as I don't put it on the floor, then that doesn't have to be a vote.
and you don't get the criticism from voting it down,
But
which is where they at.
So I'm gonna just play it safe and just keep
Well,
that in this manila folder over here by my desk.
this
but
is the
I'm
important.
biting. I'm pushing. I'm everything I said I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get like I mean it's just like he said with COVID. He said in his speech he
Yeah.
not even in charge yet, but he said he getting together a team on Monday to implement his plan for COVID. So let's get this other team on Tuesday to implement criminal justice or police reform, bipartisan police reform because we need police
Yeah.
but we don't need polices who kill us.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You know,
And I think that where I stand between what said and Courtney said and what Blue is saying is with our expectation. Right now, we don't have a foundation to build on. After these 4 years, it might not be a house on that land. It might be a smoothed out foundation ready to be built upon that we can take to the next group. So we have to understand what is realistic. To think that the lift every voice plan, every item on that plan can be done, is not realistic. I think as a community, we need to figure out where we want it to be targeted for real. And that's where the conversation got to happen. Like, I don't think we can leave it up to Joe Biden as to where he wants to start with his plan. We need to figure out what we need, and that need to be where they start at first. And I would hope that the Harrises, the Simone Sanders, all of the other black people that will surround him can accurately identify. And I think that's where the HBC with you experience come in. I went to AUM. I went to a private white institution. And I remember the first time I drove to Alabama State in the summertime, they was
Turn
outside braiding
up.
hair. I mean, it was radios outside. I was like, this feel like home,
Yes.
when I went over there. And when I went over there, it just felt different. It felt like I belonged over there.
Welcome
So
home, Eddie.
that's what it was. And I think for me, the value in her having the HBC, she understand the culture. Even if you want to split hairs by saying, oh, she's half this and half that, she qualifies for the one drop rule in America. I can assure you that the word she was called was the N word beyond any other one. And she knows what the culture looks like in its raw form.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the energy that she's gonna take to the White
Okay.
House.
All right.
I believe that she gonna have that
Sir, say,
charisma. That charisma.
sir, say it.
So I think for me, with the as far as the influence or the impact, her experience being in the HBCU is going to have, you have to. It's a lot of. We talked about energy a lot tonight. It's a lot of energy as it relates to HBCUs. When you look at even to the extent in football and athletics, with Deion Sanders saying that he's going to coach an HBCU team and getting NFL legends to be on his coaching staff. So you have some energy and some young black boys that are looking at HBCUs in a different tone and manner that way.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you're not going to be able to tell people at Howard anything for at least 4 years about their school, about their credentials. So between Howard and Hampton gonna be like that beef is turned up to a whole nother level right now between those two. But she brings more attention on HBCUs and how you do not need a big name institution like a Harvard or a Alabama or a Miami or Georgia Tech or whatever this institution may be in order to make an impact on society and be successful. So if you want to go to one of those schools, that's great, but you don't have to feel like you have to have credentials from one of those schools in order to have an impact and succeed. So you're gonna, so Howard in particular, but HBCUs overall are going to start. I'm pretty sure the amount of searches for HBCUs have gone up tremendously ever since she was announced on the ticket to be serving as or potentially serve as vice president. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna be able to tell AKA. You couldn't tell AKAs anything beforehand. You definitely can't tell them now. And they, my sister Courtney, we brother and sister. It's fine, but even my mama, AKA. But like it's just that's where the energy comes from that you were speaking of earlier, Wu, because there's a connection. This my homie. This my soror. This
Yeah.
is the person that they went to. This is somebody that goes or went to my school. So this is somebody that's a part of the HBC. So when we look at how do we get that energy in down ballot races, or and down ballot basically means when there isn't really a big name on the top of the ticket. How do we get that energy? There has to be a connection to the campaign and what's going on. So to get energy
Absolutely.
around surrounding Birmingham city elections, what is that personal connection that we can tie into people to make them get excited?
I love it. One time for this beautiful addition to the Vital Show that's just kicking it with us tonight. Hey, Tika Tika Tika. Let's do this right quick. Gotta handle a little business. Just a few seconds. Hold, please.
Hey, add me from backstage.
She plays in '86 too.
You heard me?
Well,
Add me from backstage.
You in the wrong way, Eddie.
Oh, I thought I was in the same one.
That's right. So hour two, we were well underway and having great conversation about the future of America and the HBCU impact that has now been introduced to the White House. So this is big stuff, y'all. I introduced our newest addition just a little bit. Didn't want to call too much attention to it, but she's so cute. You can't miss her. So
mhm.
welcome, baby family. And she's looking this way. Hi, boo. So everybody, I think that has been just like Cersei broke it down very eloquently about what's about to happen and how it's gonna look with every aspect of what's coming to Washington. What we're bringing, when we come, we don't have steps. So I just want to know your personal, I guess, how this has motivated you personally. Like I get asked all the time about running for some type of office in local politics in our city. And I'm like, I can't say that I'm just really interested in that. And I've said that for years. But when it comes to, what I've seen in front of me as far as what um Vice President elect is doing, what Stacey Abrams is doing, what Terry Sewell is doing, what Marika Coleman is doing, I can see that making more sense than um Birmingham City Council. So, so
Can I how many of y'all recognize on the ballot this time how many people ran unopposed in the appeals court in Alabama?
did let me find my bell. So we did. What do you think that was about?
I mean, I don't know. Like, let me tell you my honest
Like
opinion.
unopposed judgeships.
Like, it was like three of them. What I think it is okay. I'm finna be politically correct. I don't think the position is popular.
Mm,
And so it's not something that you could put a face to it and it can give you that Birmingham elite or that upper echelon Birmingham status that I believe a lot of people run for.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I mean, I don't know, but anyway, because some of them they run, because they come to my church on this unity breath, and I always tell them, I don't want to see you. Um, well, I want to see you in between elections,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and so the appeal court is probably not a popular court. It's probably not something that you can get a lot of fame. But if you want to help the black community,
Right.
that's one of like I was like unopposed. I wrote people name in there.
I saw. I know.
I saw.
I saw. So
I
like, yeah, like if they're running unopposed, that means that nobody's. It's not can't be not qualified, right?
right.
So just not interested.
Clearly not interested.
That's what spoke to me. Like,
Mhm.
The appeals court, the Supreme one was a Supreme Court position, a Supreme Justice in Alabama. Like, come on, man. Like, like what you like we can't expect for the president to do every or the vice president to do everything when we got state officials, because those Supreme Court people will be the ones that were in Alabama. The Supreme Justices of Alabama will be the ones that will hear voter fraud or the potential of voter fraud. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, when I saw that, I was so blown away. I was like, hold up now.
so Sarah, what you? I mean, like I know that you are like rather involved in that conversation just when it comes to the different seats in different elections, and I heard that as well. Then I even heard about people that were running for things that either didn't know they were running or didn't feel that they would win, so they didn't. A lot of stuff came out in this election. What you think, Sir? Said.
So first, I'm never gonna run for something that I feel like I'm not gonna win. To me, that's a complete and total and absolute waste of my time, energy, my money, and that is this to me that's disrespectful to the people that you're asking to support you. If Doug Jones, when he was running for Senate, if he didn't feel like he could win, then that was very disrespectful for him to, even
Mm,
waste our time by coming on the show and saying, "Hey, y'all vote for me, get out and turn out to vote." So that's the
yeah.
first thing on that. The next thing, I think what you run into, particularly with the judges, I think just because my mom is an attorney and
Mhm.
she has no desire to serve in one of those judgeship positions simply because it is a political position. She would have to declare a party, raise funds, politic, and go out and campaign and do that. That's not what she wants to do. She wants to
Yeah.
make an impact in the lives of black folks, but that's not how sees her making the best. So I think it's an interest to it. And then, to be perfectly honest with you, we don't know I don't know particularly the behind the scenes behind why those positions aren't run for, why there isn't a Democratic candidate to at least be on the ballot to give somebody a fight to run for those
Yeah.
positions.
And
So
not just give it to them.
yeah,
That's
I
such a
think
high
I'm
position.
I hear what you're saying with a high position, but some people don't want to take on that extra burden or that responsibility, and just go through that. So when you look at, and then you also have to look at, if I'm a judge, let's say I'm a judge in the Birmingham, city jail system or the Jefferson County, Birmingham city system or whatever city system I'm serving as a judge. If I leave where I am now, who's going to replace me?
Mm.
So
Uh,
if by me leaving, would I put that particular court in danger of being far worse than if I just stayed where I was?
No,
Hmm.
no. And I say that because if you look at the ballot, when a lot of people, especially in Jefferson County, are running for these positions, you just don't see one or two people running, black people running. There are a number of them running in that. And so what I'm saying is that think of how many people that didn't get elected to about 12 of these Jefferson County judge seats that were filled in the past few years. Those people could have they obviously had a desire to be the judge, and they say most people who this is what I heard, I don't know it to be fact, but they say that most people who become judges because they can't win cases. That's what they tell me.
Mm.
But
Good, Courtney.
all I'm saying I'm just saying that's what they tell me. But what I'm saying is that look at how many people didn't win in the local election. So you mean to tell me that you don't want to be a supreme justice in Alabama? I'm just saying like those are the places where if by default something happens in a district or circuit level, now you have the ability to hear a bipartisan argument and possibly help somebody in the state of Alabama. That's
But
if you want to help. And they pay. They pay more. A Jefferson County judge makes about 129, 139,000 a year. The Supreme Justice make 165 to 179,000 a year. So what I'm
So
saying is,
so it's compensation for your
oh, it's
service.
absolutely
It's just
compensation.
not
And
popularity.
you don't meet up like you would or go to court every day like you would. So it's just
well, and see, I
I don't
guess
know.
that's my point. That there's something more to the you enough to be one of those type of judges. It can't be, well, there aren't people who are qualified to run for those positions. So what is it? Is it that people is like, nah, I don't want to run for statewide office. I don't want to run for this particular thing. Are there some behind the scenes politics that says that, that have been quietly told to people, don't you run for that. We don't run for this seat. We let them have it or we leave it unopposed. So there's more to it than what we know. We don't know, and maybe that's the conversation that we can bring in some attorneys and bring in some or just offline talk to some judges in those fields and in those spaces and say, so what is it that that these positions always go unfilled or go basically virtually unopposed? Because one thing that I did notice in some of these local judgeship races, you did have Republicans running who typically in areas that they typically would not run. But if even though Democrats won, if you look at the percentages, Democrats were winning 55-45%, 60-50. Like it's not like those big wide gaps. So you're talking about 60-40% or 70-30% when Jefferson County is a very blue county. So when you look in terms of upcoming elections, now you got to start looking at 2022 with Danny Carr and Mark Petway. So
Mm-hmm.
what does this mean for their
Hey,
races? If they
yeah, because
are,
I
if
hear that the former sheriff is
sheriff,
running again.
oh yeah,
He was
Mike
doing
Hale, he set
commercials
up his campaign.
with his
Yes,
I,
shirt
I
on like
heard,
he was the sheriff.
bruh, I
yes.
heard that. Mm.
He has already set the stage basically to campaign and run against Mark Petway as Jefferson County is a lawless county completely spiraling out of control under liberal control. So vote me
That's
back
what he
in to
said.
get things back in thing. That is absolutely what he's going to target Mark Petway is. And whoever
Yeah.
decides to run for on the Republican side of district attorney, they're going to basically go along the line the same things that criminals are out of control under Democratic or liberal rule in Jefferson County.
Well, see,
Wow.
But
they just opened up a rule in Jefferson County. I'm sorry, where you can vote across the county on judges. It used to be where I couldn't vote if I'm on the Bessemer cutoff side of Jefferson County. I couldn't vote for the
Right.
Birmingham side. Now you open up to where it can vote, and that can go. That can be good and bad. Uh, but I mean, it's just like, but that's again, I don't care what nobody say. The sheriff don't play no games. I don't know what lawlessness people are talking about, but the sheriff is always you should look at the arrest docket every day. They are very vigilant
And
and
they control, like, they are the patrol in some of our neighboring cities. Like
a
they are
lot
the
of
only
most of
patrol
them.
they have, right?
Right, right. But
Ugh.
I just it's just but see that for that reason right there, what said just said is the main reason why we have to make sure that our people are doing what they say they're gonna do, and our people have to work that much harder. And I just looked it up for clarity.
Hmm.
Normal judges in the area, local judges about 125. Alabama has some of the highest paid Supreme justices, which start off at 169
Okay.
for a Supreme judge. So it's just, I just feel like we need, if we gonna do some stuff, let's do it.
I
It's
think
about education. Go
I
ahead,
think
Eddie.
what the race with Doug Jones showed me is that you can have a candidate that don't know anything other than football, that don't live in Alabama, that ain't willing to debate to talk about the issues, that can win in a landslide just so that Alabama can say we red. And I think that when you're talking about all of these different positions of power, I think a variable is they don't want it to start looking different. And the they that we talking about who don't want it to look different have the power to allow to keep those justices in the positions they are in. I mean, I think we could probably look at the history of when people have tried to run up against those positions and see number wise what it looked like, because it just may not be feasible to spend that time and energy, like said, in a race that you can't win, and historically it's not statistically probable that you win. So the question is, to me, this exposed a lot about Alabama that wasn't really unknown. It was already known. But from that position, what can you do about it? Like,
Mm.
will Alabama ever get an opportunity to be red, or will those high positions of power ever move in a direction where we can start changing it to where blue is, saying that we needed to go to?
Yeah, I want to ask Courtney a question because I was communicating with her while she waited in line to vote in a place that she may have felt. I was about to pull up because I didn't know. I know that like the whole state is red, but there was some blue parts. Birmingham was a blue part. The Black Belt had some blue parts. Montgomery a blue part. But Courtney, your voting experience, knowing that you were the only, you're light brown, so I guess you didn't feel really bad, like you didn't feel really out of place, but
She
like,
passed the paper back.
you
No,
know what
I'm
I mean? Like, so I'm just wondering, what was that like knowing, in these places where we are, where we make a difference, our vote counts, our voice counts, our presence counts, but you were the only sister, like within a several foot radius.
Yeah, so I sent you a picture. So I was in line for two
Yeah.
and a half, almost 3 hours. And I probably, in the duration of that time, saw, I don't know, maybe 10 Black faces. And I would say, like, maybe two of those are actually children, like with their families, with their parents. Um, and, so with Harris, they told us to go out that day, wear Chucks, wear your pearls, wear some pink and green, wear some paraphernalia. Not that, I will say Africa cannot endorse any candidate or anything like that. But we definitely, a lot of us supported her. But I knew, like, I was like, I don't want to bring any more
Mm.
attention to self than I have to. And that bothered me. Like, right, like the even that I even had to just kind of have that mindset. But I'm telling you right now, standing in that line for as long as I did, and I was trying to kind of, listen to other conversations. Several people, like, they didn't wear a mask. Now, when you walked into the facility, it said, mask are required. So
Right.
people did put on masks once we got into the facility. But here we are standing in line, within feet of each other, not socially distanced at all. Like, the line would have been down on 65 somewhere had we, really tried to social distance all the people that were in line. But I just remember feeling like, let me just get through this and get it over with. But I did feel myself just trying to stay low key. Like, let me
my
just be
voting place
quiet.
was like
Wow.
where I voted was at it was like Trump Central.
So in those moments, we talk about safety and the warnings that went out. It ended up being fake news, kind of sorta, but it's our daily headline. Like, okay, so people are gonna be upset. Black men, they said black men in particular, you're gonna have to be more watchful. This is an initiation weekend. I mean, it read all of that. It said all of that. And we know that for one, if I'm coming, I'm not gonna just give you like, hey, this is what we're gonna be here at this time. This is what we plan to do. So typically that's not what's happening. But we had to vote with them, and you don't know what people are thinking as you're voting. Am I gonna follow you back to where you came from to vote? Am I gonna like what? Am I gonna mock you and make you get out of line? Like what? So none of that happened, but the after effect. Are you all in any way concerned about your safety in this political climate, or do you think that that part has ceased?
I'm with all the smoke. I mean it. When I tell you, I have to pray frequently, daily. I'm with it. I refuse to be intimidated. I refuse to be oppressed, and
Yeah.
I promise you, I will go through whatever length I have to go through to make sure I defend myself. Or like I would, man, listen, if I see anybody disrespect ah, disrespect a
Mm-hmm.
black woman in my face, you gonna see me on a feed. Like I'm so tired of it, and I'm not gonna tolerate it. um and especially my wife. Like I wish Lord Jesus, I wish
Mm-hmm.
I'm saved, but you can still get these hands.
This is what we are. So like that's
Like I'm
confident to
so
know.
serious.
That's confident to know that like, okay, if anything happens and I see it happening, here I come. Eddie, you nervous out here in these streets?
No more than I had been before.
Okay.
I, you know, I know that somebody will look at me and perceive me as a threat, even though I'm doing something unthreatening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than it was now. I mean, to be black in America is to, at moments, be made vastly aware that you're black. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes I'm in Sam's Club in Hoover, and every now and then I'll look around and I'm like the only black person around that ain't working there. And in my head, it's like, I wonder what they think about me. Ultimately, I don't care, but these moments show up where my blackness being perceived and interpreted by other people is just a result of the conditioning that they gave us to look at ourselves in a certain way. You
Wow.
know, I feel like I've broken out of it, but like in my job, going into communities where foster parents are, I get the police called on me, or I'll have the parents of the homes that I went to called from their neighbors to say, "Hey, it's a black guy in your yard," you know, or
Like
in your
what?
driveway. We are going to consistently be made aware that we black. What's going to make me feel better about America is the Senate and the
Mm.
House and the presidency becoming blacker, and that's what's happening right now, and I like that. And blacker is just a representation of diversity. I mean, I don't care if you white, if you have the same ideals and desires for blackness that I have for me, that you are willing to act upon. I'll take that too.
All
So
right. I like that. Sturdy. I know you sitting in the background, but are you feeling safe? Like you safe? You feel different now that the Trumpster is gone and his people are upset? No different.
I want to add Eddie something. So from a counseling, from a psychological perspective, how do we address that? Because I mean, when you look at Van Jones, is that right?
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Van
Like,
Jones.
look at his response. Like how that was so much of joy and pain, and just it was just like a gumbo of emotions that came out on
And I
the
get
air.
that from him a lot.
You know what I'm saying? So and that's kind of like where I am. I have when I'm up, I get up at 4:30 to go exercise in the morning. And when I'm up, I'm literally talking to God, just like I'm people can probably hear me walking on the track, yelling, fussing, and probably cussing, because I'm just blowing. Cause I'm just like, I'm so upset and I'm so tired of this and I'm so tired of that. And I'm volatile. I wish disrespect, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very like, how do we deal with that from like a psychological perspective? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like feeling like that, but I'm with it.
I think from a large scale perspective, as a culture, I think that our trauma has to be acknowledged. There is not one of us who can be done wrong by somebody and will accept them the way that they had been before without them acknowledging what they did and just letting us know the role that they played. America have yet to address this wound that they inflicted upon us that healed over, but with an infection. And what that infection looks like is the discord that we have in our community and the conditioning that we have to challenge each other and challenge ourselves. So the first thing that has to happen that I feel we are getting closer to as a culture is them on a higher level acknowledging what went on in order for us to say, okay, now that pain has been acknowledged, we can now address it. And so that's what we got to do. We need the political version of addressing the wrongs that America has done.
Mm.
Because when I'm in Walmart now, after these 4 years, there are people thinking that you need to go back to where you came from. There are people that think even more. If they thought it, they're more aggressive about it. It's been validated, you know. And so I think that once we have that addressed from a psychological perspective, then the work can start. But as long as we don't feel like we fit in where we are because the people around us are telling us that we don't fit in, then we gonna fight for our ability to exist,
So
which is
like
what that anger is.
in the letter to Blamerica, like I specifically said that now we have, now with this second large open reminder that you all are where you're supposed to be. You're here, you've been here, your ancestors have been here. Okay, you're here. You now know that this is why those have fought against you so hard, because your vote counts, your voice matters, your opinion matters. They need you. Like, it's very obvious the whole world needs us. They swore they needed us to pick cotton. They swore that. They swore they needed us to tend to their kids and breastfeed their babies. Like, what? They really they thought that. They know that they need us. So it blows my mind that we still have to remind ourselves that we're needed and that we should be. No, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I run all this. So why don't, like, how? That's a even bigger question. How can we get other people to realize that, hey, I'm where I'm supposed to be? Y'all know you need me, and I'm gonna show you how much you need me.
I believe so. The CEO of Wells Fargo made a very crazy comment. He said that he can't find enough qualified black people to fill some of those top positions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's not that there aren't enough people qualified in those positions for those positions. They don't. It's not enough people that have access to those positions, and I believe that serves as for the people like the Kamala Harrises, who will be in positions who recognize people who are qualified. Case in point, we could have got a contractor to do our build out, right? We could have got any contractor. Most people tell you want to get you a white contractor because you don't want to deal with black people. I got a black contract. Is he giving me hell? Absolutely. I be wanting to choke him 4 days out of the 7. However, I understand that for him, it's a learning curve too to be in this kind of market. And so I'm optimistic and I'm understanding to give him an opportunity to build his portfolio. So then in the future, maybe he would do better in different situations. So I just believe that in order for we have to help each other. The Sankofa
Mm-hmm.
bird lifting as we climb.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to maintain that, and I just feel like one of the biggest misconceptions is that we believe that when we climb, we have to climb by ourselves because the people we help climbing. Matter of fact, on the way over, I was telling somebody, listen, either you're gonna be you or you're gonna be what other people want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are the type of person to help people as you climb, even those who don't want to climb or try and pull you down, still be the person to help them climb. And that's how I believe that's a way that we can start building the psyche up that our people are qualified and capable of doing things.
Yeah,
So
it's conditioning. Courtney, I saw you leaning in a few seconds ago. I don't know if you still had that. I'm sorry.
Blue started talking. I forgot your
oh,
question. It
don't
was
you
something to your question.
ooh, Courtney,
That's why I was like, oh, let me
let
catch
me
him. I'm
look at our
sorry.
face. Where our face at?
So this part of the conversation, though, just speaking about how to empower, how to keep people motivated, how to keep people engaged with their blackness and their identity and who they are, what they stand for, what they're trying to build, what this opportunity presents. This is the conversation that we're having. So, like, just making sure that people know who they are and what they're capable of accomplishing at this time. That's more of what we're speaking about, and just the fact that if this is another opportunity to heal, how does that process look? Like, we know that we're waiting on Washington to do what it has to do. We know that that's a process, but individually on a local level, what is it that we can be doing? I went to a couple of places today where I saw the apathy, and I was questioning, like, I wonder, did they vote? I wonder, did they know what was happening? I wonder, are they concerned about what's about to happen? And that's what motivates me to continue to do what I do, because I'm like, I know, like, we talk to the same people weekly. A lot of the same people are the people that we talk to, that we text, that we go to work with, go to school. These are the same people. But what about those who still didn't make the number that made that 750 million people vote? Like, they still have no clue. They still don't know what they're capable of. They still don't know what's happening. How do you, or do you even concern yourself with reaching them?
Yes, never stop. Keep
Yeah, I
on.
I
know we say never. And I do agree. It's like we never stop, but there are people who, like when Blue was mentioning before, as far as being um the faith being gone in the system, or people just feeling broken because there's a system that can't be trusted and all of those things. I think that there are still that group of people where they don't believe. And even if it's like how we talked about before with Kamala, like, oh, the history, being a prosecutor and stuff like that, it's like we can be so proud and excited it's a black woman, but then they bring that part up, not understanding what her position probably was at the time. They harp on, but she put people away, or she locked people up, and at the same time it's like, you know, we're proud. We got somebody as VP, but at the same time, there are people who stand on, nah, trust is broken, black or not. We don't trust her, So I feel like they will not vote, regardless of where our fight may be.
Mm. They don't, but I guess the people I'm thinking about don't even know that that's the history that she has. They don't even know about that part of her reputation. These are the people that literally have no clue.
Uh,
That group.
I
Would
believe.
you trust somebody who has never gotten in trouble or somebody who's gotten in trouble?
Right, to have history and you can, there's
And
some sort of relation
Trust them
there.
to
right,
do what is the question.
And,
so
yeah.
that and that's the thing. To me, Biden, yes, he had a lot to do with the crime bill. Yes, Kamala Harris put away a lot of people when she was just starting as a DA, right? They made mistakes. We all make mistakes.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying you make a mistake to give somebody to step on you again, but both of them have done what Eddie said. They have acknowledged that they made some mistakes.
Hmm.
And if you look at the history that they have shown after the fact, if you looked at the programs that um, Vice President elect has done after the fact, then you would see that she's tried to rectify her problem. But at the end of the day, well, I'm not gonna go there, but it's just she tried, she apologized. Biden, he apologized and said he made a mistake.
Now
So
actions. After you apologize with your words, what are your actions?
right.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just I don't know, man. Is that's a very gray area for me because it's like okay, and I say that with passion because I made mistakes. Who I am on paper is not who I am today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's just we have to be very optimistic and very firm with the people that we put in the
Hold
leadership.
them
You know
accountable.
what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, I don't like perfect people. I don't because to me,
Because they don't
um,
exist.
They
it,
don't exist.
well, when I say perfect, the ones who look perfect on paper,
Yeah.
Mm.
because I feel like they don't know what it is to get in trouble. They don't know what it is to make a mistake. And so I don't need you trying that out with me. I need
Mm.
somebody who's been there, done that, and said, Lord, I'm not trying. You can't pay
Okay.
me to commit felony. You feel what I
Right.
mean? So it's just, but that's just me because I've been on one side of the
Hmm.
spectrum before. And it's just, and that's why I think, like, I hope that they use people who are like big Killer Mike need to be on something like for real like he's been an advocate and a vocal person about black rights and stuff like that. Put people like that, David Banner, like put people
And
who
that's
are
who,
go ahead.
the people who I feel like who she mentioned, that's exactly
That
who
energy.
they
Hmm.
can touch and they can reach.
Right. So I
Yeah.
mean it's just I mean we the world right now is pregnant or fertile. No, fertile.
Hmm.
Not pregnant yet. It's
Where,
fertile with
where we going?
opportunity.
Absolutely.
I you know I think that I don't think that the Europeans knew what they were really getting into when they brought
Mm.
Africans over here. I mean, from my perspective, we got a long way to go, but we are operating at a high level considering what we've been through. And if some of the systemic racism can be addressed in all of these different systems, then America gonna look different.
Yeah.
If we can get to where we need to be as a culture, if we can get that acknowledgement, if we can heal as a culture and we can heal as families and heal as individuals, and we can start being put in positions of power to make this work, because we don't like as a culture we ain't out here with a desire to just make white people pay for what they've done to us. The only thing we are asking for is the exact same opportunity. But I feel like the way that we are made, the way that we are set up, and what we have gone through and overcome, I feel like if things become equal, we will continue to grow and become what
That
we are meant to become,
that's
which is
what make a
powerful beyond measure.
that's what
Make
make
America
America
great
great again.
again.
They saw it.
It
They
is.
said, "Wait a minute,
Vote that.
this black dude done and release some in them, and they finna get beside them. No, we got to make it great
Can we
again."
get some black hats with white letters? Make America great again.
Man,
What?
Angels
it's
from
just
Africa.
it's just like
Angels from Africa.
Ooh, ooh.
the greatest fear of a racist in America is that we come together, is that and that we work together. Because I tell people all the time, they could have never come into the jungles and captured us. They had to use us to get us. We aren't gonna get to me. Give me the beats. No, no. But I'm just saying we are such a strong and resilient people. We are so determined, and it's like obscurity. We thrive in obscurity or coming from obscurity. And so, man, that I ain't gonna get out finna
Go
bring the organ out. But
Go
I
on,
just
preach.
like I just and that's what these young people don't realize. That's what they don't understand is how much we have overcome. Like how I'm not my grandmama. And okay, if you would
Right.
slap somebody to the floor for saying something wrong to you, imagine how hard it felt not to do it because you knew you would die. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it's like, man, we some. I love black. I'm the lightest black dude you probably ever met, but I love being black. I love being black. Uh, that's what I'm talking about. B5, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is Vital you're listening to on B94.9 WATV. We are just sharing our post-election sentiments and how they affect us directly. And the conversation is just real, raw conversation about what's about to happen, what has already been happening, and how we feel about it, what we think about it. So you're more than welcome to join in for the last stretch of the show to express your opinion, your thoughts about anything that you've heard or seen over the past week or so. We got comments. And I think, Blue, you're talking about the Charles Collins
Man,
comment.
that comment fire.
With Biden, remember, other people, i.e., Black caucus, pastors in the Black community, gave the green light to the crime bill. So it was just not him. Miss Harris, she had a job to do. If you didn't commit crimes in California, you don't go to jail, period.
Mm-mm.
Period.
But if it wasn't her, it would have been someone else. And that's thank you, Mr. Collins. That's kind of my point. Like, looking good on paper is one thing, but my reality is another. I may be just so good at doing my crimes that don't nobody catch them and write them down on paper. I can teach you that. Vote for me. I'll set you free. Okay. He adds another comment. The most dangerous threat is unity of Black folks. That's documented. Black Panthers, Nation of Islam, etc., etc. One crew that sticks together, though, that is the Vital crew. Speaking of that, we are all here, with the exception of a few. Even Blue is in. Even
Oh,
Sturdy, the super
Jesus.
producer, came in. We even got the baby
I'll take it.
in
I'll take
post
it.
election. So I'm just really excited. Courtney, were you about to unmute? Is that what I saw?
No, this was earlier, and I just was gonna say I think that that is why the oppression is um, so necessary for our counterparts, because I think that others recognize well before we have, and we do recognize the power, the talent, the gifts, the like just what we can be. I think other people recognize it in us well before we do, and well before we even accept it. So
Yeah.
as long as they can keep us, out of the know, as long as they keep us divided, like that keeps us right where they need us and want us to be. Because like Eddie said, I mean, there's still such a long way to go, but just look what has happened, with what we are learning and the education that we are, getting. Like we are, making strides, but I just don't think that we have really walked into what we're capable of doing. We still,
Right.
I think, feel like if it's not right, it ain't right, and so Sir said was talking about this early, and it just is, this whole the HBCU thing. And, even when you think about athletes and just what you want to be in life, like now seeing that you can have the highest office in the land and have gone to an HBCU, You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can go to the NFL, a major league, and go to an HBCU. And I think that so long it was like if it's not PWI, I can't get where I'm trying to go. So, but so when we recognize what it is that we have like within us, I mean, yeah, that they will wish that they left us somewhere else.
Like, let us go back home. Okay.
You can't return stolen good.
Oh man, we can go back on our own. Um. So, any critiques for the administration before we move forward? Say it. I see you. Go
Well,
ahead.
one of the points I was going to make, or just bring up, we have to, I think, learn to be more patient with our leaders. I don't know that we necessarily give them the latitude that they need to be able to operate and handle business. There's a book called "The Spook Who Sat by the Door." I think it's also they converted it to a movie as well. But it talks about a black man that basically infiltrated the FBI. He went to work for the FBI and immediately got pushback and from most of the folks in the community. But his inner circle had devised a plan that, listen, we need to transform the system. We need to tear this system down. But we can't do it if we're on the outside. So somebody has to be that one that goes on the inside. So this person that went in the FBI, he was the inside man feeding information to his inner circle. So while he's being called all kind of names by his community and being torn down and his character and reputation being attacked, he was doing things for the benefit of his own community, and the people in his community never saw it, didn't recognize it, didn't appreciate it, and never gave him credit and just gave him a headache. You got to be strong. And what we have to realize, we have some strong black leaders because they get more pushback and flack from their own people than they do the folks that they trying to run up against.
Right.
And we have to learn, sometimes we got to look at the big picture and the long game. So yeah, we may be mad that they voted no against this, but what does that no set up in the down the line as a yes, as the bigger picture, as the bigger thing that we really want? So is this a battle or that we about to attack or go at odds with some of our elected leaders and officials over, or are we complaining about the war strategy? Are we complaining about losing one battle, or are we complaining about we're losing the war? I think if we're complaining about losing the war, that's a whole different conversation than we lost this one battle. And I think we overreact sometimes when we lose those battles as if it means the war is completely over.
I like that. That's preaching music too. I should have put the organ back on, but I'm gonna wait on that. So the war versus the battle, like we know that the war is like that's ahead. We're still fighting the battles, the little battles. And Courtney, you might remember this from Dr. Harrington about making not letting those pebbles become mountains, like catch them while they're pebbles. She said that a lot, and that stuck with me. Just to tackle things when they're small instead of like, okay, so now it's a whole boulder. This could have been handled when it was a pebble. So we're working at that point. We know that now we're already at the boulder state, but we can start chipping at it, knocking it down, and getting this work done, getting the work in. Um, Ice Cube, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent. I can't say that Cube goes in that same box. Like this is a box that you like pack up and throw away because they said what they said and we heard them when they said what they said. I don't know that Cube goes in that box. When you talk about Killer Mike, you said David Banner. Was there anybody else? There were a couple of others,
Those
but
are those I say those because those they're a
those
little
are
bit more
influential.
stable,
Yeah,
and not just on what's that
on the
word?
BS.
Yeah.
So right, what we're talking about, we know who can go and we know who can't. So with I asked for critiques, and we know that Ice Cube wanted a seat at the table with the contract for Black America. He just wanted to have a conversation, and they said after November 3rd. It's after November 3rd, so now we can have that conversation. But people still misinterpreted what I think he was trying to do, and he made a tweet the other day saying, "Okay, y'all have a good life." Cause y'all done put him in a whole y'all put him over here in this box with Wayne and 50.
He took a I think he took a gamble, and at the time that he made the statement, it made sense, but his timing and just you know how they say it ain't what you say, is how you said it, and knowing that the Trump campaign was gonna spin anybody, and he know how those Republicans, they take anybody black who halfway remotely agree to any little slight smidget of what they have to say, and they use them, and he got sucked in. So he
But
made
he
it.
just
We
he's
gonna accept Ice Cube
that's
back,
that's
man.
what I
We
wanted
ain't,
to
we
know.
don't do
Okay.
people. We don't
Look,
do folks like that.
name for me, name a black person that Trump hasn't been poisoned for. And
Yeah.
if you didn't know that he was gonna be poisoned for you as a black person, then that's your short sightedness. Because there is no black person that's been around him that has gotten any value
Omarosa.
out of that proximity.
Money causes short sightedness now.
What
So
Candace Owens at though?
Candace Owens says she's running for president in 2024, and she called us turkeys.
They gonna remind her
Gobble
Good
gobble.
luck.
Good luck with that,
And
Candy.
my critique is that there is no evidence that any of this is more than the Democratic Party again using us to get that vote that we always
Mm.
give them. And Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of them can get swept up in a campaign of y'all didn't do this for the black community if they
Ooh.
don't do this for the black community. So they need to do this for the black community.
absolutely.
That's my critique.
I don't care
I
what you
mean,
got to do.
look, I mean, I'm with Blue. I do believe in that foundation that I was talking about, but y'all have to show, like, y'all got to put a down payment on what we just did.
Okay.
We
He
need a
said
down
he
payment.
looked
Like,
at you.
even if it ain't the full blown house built,
Yeah.
we need a down payment.
And even if it get rejected, you need to be
Say
fooling
it.
me.
You better just say it.
Yeah, like fool me. Be raising hell, like go on a Twitter tirade,
Go
like
crazy.
something.
Okay.
Like we need it, and we need it immediately before the mid things get
Yeah.
here.
I'm not gonna restart my stream. I'm not
Well,
gonna restart my personal screen if you can't see me. Said I'm coming to you next. The one critique is that the speech, whoever is writing the speeches, I need some power. I need them packed. Like, don't repeat the same thing that you've been saying throughout the campaign. Give me something different. So last night I was ready to cry or something. I ain't do none of that. I was like, dang, who can I tweet so I can start writing some speeches for them? Because you gonna have to move me.
it's not the speechwriter. It's all the time. It's the person delivering the speech. If they can't,
No,
if they can't,
no, I heard what I heard, and the speeches were the same.
It's they the same because they ain't did nothing yet.
Okay, okay,
So
Yeah.
you
okay.
start doing
that's
stuff.
a safe speech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, we just heard this, and it was not moving, it was not riveting, and
Kamala's speech moved me more than Joe Biden's speech because she was speaking
hers.
from a historic standpoint. And really, when she said "black woman," that
Yeah,
being the first, like, not like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
know I'm
yeah,
all
yeah.
these other things, but hey,
Yeah, them
when folks look
folks
at
on the
me, I'm
train was
black.
talking about she wasn't black. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She said,
it was
yeah.
something. It
My source name is Kamala.
Ka- Kamala, not Kamala.
Kamala.
Mm.
Who said Kamala?
Did you say
I don't know.
Oh,
my,
and quickly before, because I know we're running out of time. One of the
go ahead,
things,
Ted.
another critique I had was I was listening to MSNBC, and it was quoting one of the reporters who said, being black in the first week of November is like playing for a team and being told, hey, listen, this is the fourth quarter. We only got 2 minutes left. It's all on y'all. So basically, every time the Democratic Party is coming to black folks saying, listen, if y'all want this and y'all want that, y'all gotta vote. Cause other than if y'all don't vote, we gonna lose and we can't win. So it's like black folks. So when 16 happened, they weren't talking about young folks not getting out to vote for real and other folks not getting out to vote. Where were the black people? The black people didn't go out in record numbers. They had
Well,
numbers lower than Obama. But
we
the
are
prop
here now. We are
but the
right here.
problem that we make as black people, something that Eddie was hitting on, is that we give our power completely to the Democratic Party with no strings or anything attached to it. So no matter how many times they bamboozle us, victimize us, or oppress us, we still go right on back and keep getting our butts kicked. I almost said something else, but keep getting our butts kicked in favor of, they not as scary as the other folks, so we just gonna go with them. We give too much of our power away, and with no kind of leverage and nothing else in return. So Cube is the perfect example of what I was talking about. People being fighting for the community and getting torn down by the community. Cube made a mistake. He was trying to help his people. So yeah, when he say, "Hey, y'all have a nice life," I ain't trying to do nothing for black folks. Never again anything for the community because it's not appreciated.
Well, Black folk, it is time for us to go. It has been an awesome show. Great points. Black folk, yeah, it's the fourth quarter. We got to go, but keep the same energy. I think if we didn't learn anything else tonight, we did learn that. So stay tuned here to V94.9 WATV all week for more updates, more information. Be sure to follow Vital Show. We got some dope pics that we posted. A couple people, they'll get theirs in, but make sure you follow us. Find out what's happening. It's V94.9 WATV.
I love you, cuz. I love you, cuz. Y'all know I love you, cuz.